Happy Run's G60 now comes in under $1,000. With impressive looks and loaded with features, is this bike now worth your money? Riding on a set of 20-inch diameter by 4-inch wide tires, these all-terrain grip tires provide plenty of traction in most conditions. I found that it did well on the streets and also compact roads and trails, but when there is a transition going into loose gravel or loose dirt, this is where you may notice it might not provide quite the traction as needed, so this is something to be aware of. The front suspension is also adjustable with compression and rebound settings, and the rear monoshock also has adjustments such as a higher and lower position for taller or shorter riders. There is also rear spring adjustments to tighten it up if you are a heavier rider, but out of the box, this bike comes super soft and can easily tackle going up and down curbs or rougher terrain, but the rebound is quite fast, giving slightly a pogo effect. But the front suspension does do exceptionally well, especially adding about 4 or 5 clicks of compression. Now, if you are a taller rider, taller than 5'11" such as myself, I don't really recommend this bike, as after sitting down, I am a little bit cramped. Braking on this bike does exceptionally well with 160mm rotors and DY Island hydraulic disc brakes with on-the-fly adjustment. This bike is equipped with a 750-watt motor that has a 1500-watt peak, which is powered by a 48-volt removable battery, which also has a power indicator easily seen up top and its own on-off switch along with charging port. Once the battery is powered on, you can then turn on the key, and this will display the battery voltage along with the main display, which looks a little bit something out of an 80s video game, but is easy to see and shows all the information needed. 4 buttons on the left provide 5 functions, such as turning on and off your headlight, which this is definitely bright enough at night to be able to see where you're going, along with operational turn signals, which will show up on the display and on the tail light. If you do press both of these on at the same time, you will actually get the hazard effect like you would in an automobile, indicating that you might have a problem. You will have also an operational horn to at least indicate to people that you are coming. The large display is also easy to read, but there are no other functions on it. The Happy Run G60 is equipped with a twist throttle on the right, along with a selector switch, which this will move you through power modes 1 through 3, and then also a 7-speed selector, which this is going to shift your 7-speed cassette, which is operated by a Shimano derailleur. This even comes equipped with a flashy gold chain just to give it a little bit of an extra look. Now, according to Happy Run, this G60 model should get up to about 31 miles per hour. Now, that's going to depend more on the rider weight and also the rider conditions. I did do a couple of speed runs where I also checked the calibration of the speedometer. I found that this bike was about 0.5 miles per hour off pretty consistently, which actually that's pretty common on most e-bikes. Now, I was able to do a couple speed runs and managed to get 28 and 29 miles per hour pretty consistently, with me being 200 pounds and even a top speed of 30 miles per hour. But on this particular day, I do have a 5 to 7 mile per hour crosswind, which was pretty consistent. Now, when it comes to riding trails and going up and down hills, this is where you can tell the 750-watt motor that's supposed to be 1500 watts peak seems like it's a little bit more underpowered at around 1200 watts, as I don't know what the Newton meters are for torque. Now, when you go up, you can tell you lose speed relatively quick. This is where you are going to have to use your gears a little bit more frequently, especially when you get to higher grades. This way you don't completely deplete your battery relatively quick. Now, this hill is kind of like the gauntlet. I start at 0 and then I don't pedal all the way up this hill to see what kind of speeds I can maintain, as this gets up to about a 16 and 17% grade in a couple areas and probably averages about 12 to 13. Most times the e-bikes will run about 12 to 14 miles an hour on some of the more high torque type bikes, but I found that this one, well, it had a hard time maintaining 10 or 11 and mostly lived around the 8 and 9 mile per hour mark. This is where having those torque numbers would be kind of nice, that way I knew what I was dealing with. I'm assuming this is probably around 60 Newton meters or so of torque, considering it's not getting me up the hill fast, but it is doing the job pretty well. but I am going to be burning a lot of battery going up this, so hence pedaling would be more ideal, but it is a test that I like to do. Now consistently I was running around 8 to 10, but now as I start to flatten out a little bit, this now gets me up to the 12-mile-an-hour mark. It's definitely not going to be fast, but it does do the job. Now if you're a heavier rider than 200 pounds, you might find this bike could be underpowered going up longer hills. And this is definitely a great time for me to start hitting back, as the weather is starting to change from those blue skies to dark skies. Now when it comes to the G60, it definitely wins on a stylish type of bike and also comfort. This bike is good for the shorter riders, 5'11" on down, and when it comes to this bike, it is definitely meant for cruising and getting you to point A to point B in a timely manner, but it's definitely not going to win any races. Let me know what you think about this bike in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next video.